Okay guys, so this evening are all about the driving test reality. All right, so we're going to be reviewing what we discussed a little bit this past year, and we put out every week we put out a driving test video. So what are the main driving test files? Now if you go to the DVSA or you look on the web and you ask what are the main, they will tell you it's observations. Now my approach to that is it's observations because people are not identifying the junctions correctly. The first thing you have to do is stage yourself correctly. So if you're going to be turning right at the junction and there's a central reserve, you need to know where that central reserve is, and you need to get into that central reserve to be able to turn right if you're going to be turning right, or you have to select the correct lane. Now if you don't do those sort of things, then you're not staging correctly, and then what happens is it gets marked as an observation, but in actual fact it's not understanding the junction. You haven't understood what the implications of the lines and the road language are and the signage. And yes, you can be marked for an observational fault because you've not correctly positioned yourself, or you don't know who to give way to when you get there. So you haven't planned because you don't understand the junction, and that's normally then marked as an observation fault. Now it's a general category, it's easily put, okay, you didn't observe correctly with the traffic light or this or that, so it can go into an observation fault. But at the same time, it's also to do with identifying the junction and understanding the priorities. Okay, so if you look at poor planning, that is identification. It's all about identification. You can't plan if you can't, okay? Late decisions, again, observation, isn't it? You're coming up to a traffic light and there are 3 lanes and you are in the wrong lane and you want to go straight. And we had, at the end of last year, we had 1 or 2 faults where people were actually in the wrong lane and then tried to get into the right lane at the right time instead of just putting on their indicator and following the lane markings on the ground. That becomes an observation fault, isn't it? But again, it comes with identification, planning, and getting yourself ready. Missing checks with examiners, expect before acting, weak observations, not checking your right shoulder when you're moving off, not showing your examiner that you're checking your mirrors correctly, and not showing the examiner that you're checking your mirrors correctly, not actually moving your head and just doing your eyes. If he has to guess what you're going to be doing, then you're not doing your observations. It's as simple as that. He can just sit there and watch you. If you're not sort of consciously thinking, okay, look in the center mirror, I'm going to turn left, look in the left-hand mirror, now put on my signal, that is now good observation. But if you're just flicking your eyes around and he's got to guess whether you looked in the mirrors, you're actually not doing yourself any favors. That's the big problem. Okay, bearing standards between lesson and the actual inconsistent judgment, that has to do with experience. That has to do with you doing a lot of work to get yourself ready for your driving test. Okay, so inconsistent judgment. In other words, you haven't worked out what the speed of the vehicle is that's approaching you, and that could be an observational fault. So you're not judging the speed at which the vehicle is coming, and then you cut in front of the vehicle. Okay, all right. Then the biggest repeat files: junction approach and hesitation, stopping when it's safe to proceed, lack of confidence. Roundabout positioning, guys, we have brilliant material on roundabouts. We have done this so many times, and every time somebody comes to me and they've been failing their tests, more often than not, I find out they don't know the rules around roundabouts. You need to know the clock rule. You need to understand lane positioning. You need to understand how to observe in the roundabouts. The examiner is sitting there watching you like a hawk to see how you're observing. It's really important. Okay, and all of that is taught in our video tutorials.